What's up, patrons? My name's Aaron Ciotti. Everybody calls me Ciotti. This is for you guys. So I'm going to really try to do daily streams in 2021. Today is the first day of 2021. I'm starting with one of these sort of patron only. They're not actually patron only because I don't really have a way of like I don't want to put everything behind the paywall, right? I want to give the patrons as much as I possibly can as a thanks for them supporting me. I want to try to grow the Patreon because I'm really close to the Patreon becoming enough for me to live off of. And I like Joshua Bardwell's model of living off of the Patreon page so that the people are your bosses and so that you guys tell me what you want to see me do, so that so I have no allegiances to any of the manufacturers, right? So that when I tell you guys that X, Y, or Z product is good, it's not because somebody sent it to me for free or because somebody's giving me, some kickbacks or whatever. You guys know what I'm saying. So what I think I'm going to start doing is, outside of like the official streams with the fancy thumbnails that are, scheduled in advance, right? Sim Sunday, Monday giveaways or Micro Mondays, Whoop Wednesdays, it's looking like are going to become like an official, weekly thing. Fridays, which is today, sometimes I do the 5-inch Friday thing. Oh, hey, by the way, anybody who's in here expecting what I said I was going to do, which is to build the first of the for sale rigs, I didn't realize that I didn't buy flight controllers. I don't have any flight controllers. So nice. Remy Tim is out snowboarding and I'm in his ear holes. That's ridiculous. Technology 2021. So yeah. I can't do the 5-inch build today. But yeah, this is what I think I'm going to start doing. Like every single day, I'll come on here. It'll be a public stream. So it's not behind the paywall, right? Like if you're alive and you're subscribed for free and you click the bell for free, you'll get access to these streams on the off days. And then at the end of this stream, there's a button, there's a switch that I've flipped to make this not live, make the replay not live anymore. The replay of these streams become, hey bot, what do you think of this idea? What's up, bot? So this is what I think I'm going to start doing, bot. Daily streams, right, like this. It's going to look like hell because they're not like planned streams. Like these streams are for the off days, right? It's public now. I name it Patreon only to encourage people to join the Patreon and ask me, just like you just did. But then when this stream is over here, these will be shorter. When this is over, it's not live anymore. It goes to unlisted. There's a switch you can flip in Studio to make it unlisted. Jimmy Broadbent does this. I'm sort of stealing this idea from Jimmy Broadbent, who is like a 600,000 subscriber streamer, sim racing streamer. And then so yeah, at the end of this is going to become unlisted, and then I'm going to grab. Well, I already did. I grabbed this link and I put this link into Patreon, so that all the patrons got the email with the link to this. And they'll always have that, right? It'll live in Patreon, so this will become, yeah, so I've already done it, kind of. Yeah, right, I've already done it. Oh, cool, I don't have to do anything. Bot says, if you're in the stream, when it flips, doesn't it boot you? It switches from public to unlisted when I hit end stream. So it'll just do that automatically. Yeah, what do you think? Random FPV says, that's it. Guilt them into becoming Patreons. Well played. Yeah, I really struggle with, like, how do I give the people that are supporting me more content, but at the same time not penalize the people that can't afford the $3 a month or can't get onto Patreon because of where they are in the world, or right? Like, I don't want to penalize people, but at the same time I want to be able to pay rent, right? So it's I really struggled with that in 2020 to figure that out, because, like, I feel like every time I get into a place that I'm like, all right, this is the way it should be, somebody will be like, dude, I really want to watch you, but I can't afford it, and I'm like, fuck. I don't like that. You know, I'm broke as shit too. Like, I've always been super broke. The reason why I did micros for the first, like, 2 years of this hobby was that I was unemployed, and well, I'm not unemployed the whole time, but I had a really shitty paying job and zero ability to afford 5-inch rigs. So yeah, I don't know. I'm interested to see what you guys think. I always try to listen to you guys, and walk this fine line of like, you know, I don't know. I don't know. It's tough. It's I want to make everybody happy, and that's really hard to do in life. Random FPV says, send me nudes and I'll up my Patreon. Not a chance, Random. Unfortunately, you're the only one that would up their Patreon if I sent nudes. Everybody else would cancel, so I have to play the numbers game. Sorry. Who else tagged me? Tiago tagged me. Tiago and I are doing some Fiverr work on Monday. That's gonna be fun. I can't wait for that. Which did you get on Fiverr? Was it tuning? What are we doing? Tuning? Or are we build planning, Tiago? Remy Tim is snowboarding because he knows how to live. Random FPV, it's the second day of 2021 there. Wow, that's crazy. It's only 4:45 here, and there's somebody in the world it's January 2nd. That's crazy. And then, yeah, okay, so I do, so these like rando streams, which I think I'm just gonna call them Patreon only rando stream, just like the title is. There's gonna be ones of these that have absolutely no point, and it's just me, like, taping up packages to send to you guys. But I'm also thinking of it like, I'm also thinking of it as, like, almost like office hours. Joshua and UAV Tech have had a couple live streams that they've called office hours, and I always kind of thought that was brilliant. So yeah, I would love to. I want to make myself more available to you guys, because it's sort of becoming obvious that my niche is going to be live streaming, and that's fine. I love this platform. I'm very wordy, and I like to have an actual conversation about a lot of this stuff. Like, a lot of the stuff in this hobby is not cut and dry enough, in my opinion, for a 5-minute video saying, hey, do this, turn your feed forward to 42.0, and it'll be perfect. Like, I don't believe in that at all. I think that's straight up wrong. I would rather have a conversation and say, you know, what's your build at now? If we're talking about tuning, where's your build at now? What are you trying to tune out? What are you trying to improve? Let's be targeted about that and not sort of throw darts at a dartboard. I spent a lot of years throwing darts at a dartboard, trying to figure out what the hell all the different things in Betaflight do, and how I can use those different settings to make my footage look exactly the way I want it to, and make the rig fly in a way that I can produce that footage with my thummies and my index fingeries, right? Joshua just put out a video called, which if you haven't watched yet, go now. It's where I stole the thumbnail for this. He just put a video up called, finally a PID tune I can appreciate. CIOTTI'S perfect freestyle build. And this is, we spent 10-15 minutes talking here after the flow state filming, and yeah, Joshua cut it up kind of brilliantly. I think he cut it up so that I only nervously laugh like 2 or 3 times per per talking head, which was very nice of him. And he interspersed it with footage of him flying it, his first battery, on my glide build that I sent him. And it's really, 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 really cool to see him fly the glide. I really wish that this is hard, but I really wish that he'd left. That's what she said. Office is now on Peacock, and it makes me very sad. It's not on Netflix anymore. We lost it. What were we saying? I see the chat blowing up, but let me just get through this rant. Yeah, it was very... I wish he'd left my rates on it, because I think that a part of the magic of my tune is the rates. I tune the rates along with the PID profile. Like, I don't approach the rates as a completely separate thing. For better or worse, like, you could argue that that's wrong to do it that way, but I base everything off of the way that the footage looks. Like, everything that I do with the tune and the way the rig is built and all that stuff, it's just about making the footage look as good as possible, and also having something that's as durable as possible. But yeah, the part of the magic, I think, of my tune is that the tune itself works really well with the rates. And when I say that, what I mean is, like for example, right? I only have 700 degrees a second of rotational rate, max rotational rate. That's pretty low. And what that does, by having that number be lower, there's going to be literally less rotational momentum in the rig that at the end of a move needs to be stopped. So as a contrast, right, Joshua went and put his rates on it, and his rotational rate is a lot faster. At that point, the I term relax should be set a little bit lower, and the PID gains and D gains specifically should be set a little bit higher, because you've got more energy in the rotational rate, right, from the rate that was chosen, that you need to stop at the end of a move. The problem is, you can't really fly. He can cry. It's fine. The problem with that is, how do you do that, right? Like flying somebody else's rates is brutal. You have to put like a bunch of batteries in to get used to their rates, and you're never gonna be totally locked in on somebody else, right? You're gonna have to put in like 100 batteries to really get comfortable with a brand new rate profile. So, yeah, that was it's hard. It's hard to yeah. That's why I prefer this platform. That's why I prefer, and I don't give you guys my diff for my tune and my all my stuff, because I don't want you guys to. You see what I'm getting at? I think you guys see what I'm getting at here. But Joshua asked me for the diff, and I sent him the diff. So it's in there. I also put it on Patreon. So, but please, 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 if you use my diff, do the crazy process that you see me do when I first arm a rig. Like, if you use my diff, you now have a loaded gun that points, you know, that the barrel points in this direction. So if you use that, when you plug that, I mean, like, be crazy. Like, when you plug the rig in, plug it in at arm's length, and just be careful. It's not going to go nuts, but there's no reason not to be careful. Plug it in at arm's length, keep it away from you. When you arm it the first time, like make sure there's nothing that it can explode, because there's a chance that my tune will be cranked up higher than yours, and your build won't be as smooth as mine. and there's a chance that the second you arm it, it's going to go full beans, full oscillation, really, and fly away. So yeah, first time you arm it with my diff, just like arm, disarm, and then arm, disarm, and then arm, disarm, right? Like just give it a little bit, and then arm, and just bump the right stick like you saw Joshua do in this Finally a PID Tune I Can Appreciate video, and then disarm. Like just be nuts, because yeah, this is my fear, and this is why I've never put my tune or a diff or anything like that out, because I'm terrified that because of the fact that I build really clean and I replace motors when they get bent, right? And I use flight controllers that don't have electrical noise problems, and I make sure that the rubber gummies are properly compressed, I can run a more aggressive tune. I don't need to run a super aggressive tune because of my rates being my rates being a little bit lower. But yeah, I don't want anybody to get hurt, and for it to be because of a diff that I finally, after years and years and years of being asked by people to provide publicly, I provided publicly. Get it? Cool? That was the main thing I wanted to talk about. I think Joshua's video kind of speaks for itself. We covered a lot of really good ground. Let me get caught back up in the chat. If you haven't watched it, please go watch it. It's I'm very, very flattered by this edit that Joshua did. It's I'm very, very glad that I sent him that rig. Like I got I got a ton of marketing from taking one of my rigs that I don't really fly all that often, right? Like I say in there, it was my third rig, and this year with trying to make FPV into a career, I really haven't flown much this year. In comparison to years past. Years past, in the long list of things in this hobby that we balance, number fucking one for years now has been flying. Get out, get on the sticks, get better as a pilot, and that's why I've gotten to where I'm at as a pilot, and that's why I've been able to sort of close the gap, right? I've only been flying 5-inch. I've been flying 5-inch for like less than 2 years. It was all micros before that, and yeah, that was a really hard gap to close, because it's like, you know, the pro pilots that are like 4, 5, 6 years in now, most of them flew 5-inch from the get-go, so they had this nice, you know, when, like, so starting off, here's how I think the improvement, like, going up is improving as a pilot, going over is wait, no, I should do it this way for you guys. Time to skill level. Starting off, you get better really fast, and then after like a year, maybe like 2 years, you start to plateau, but then you keep getting better, right? So I feel like all the OG guys that did this, and then I came in over here, and I don't think I got as fast because I was flying micro stuff, right? So they're still up here. I'm trying to close this gap, and then I got on the 5-inch thing, and got, you know, some, but they're up here, right? And I plateaued just like they did. So yeah, I've always just been kind of trying to close that gap. As another way of just saying, get really good as a pilot, right? Like the gap between how good, I'm just using the gap between how good different pilots are as an example. For me, it's just trying to be as good as possible. I in like every hobby I've picked up in the last 20 plus years, it's, to me, the joy of the hobby is in the subtleties, and you only really get to appreciate and perform at a level where you can access those subtleties when you've done it a lot and when you've gotten really good at whatever the thing is. I hope that makes sense. And yeah, that's what it's been about. with FPV for me for a long time, and that's what's sort of driven the constant want to improve as a pilot. In the chat, we're gonna get caught up here. Tiago says, make the videos privates. If something say is important, make a clip and post public. Yeah, so that's another thing that I can do if I do one of these rando ones, and I'm gonna start doing that. I already have started doing that. Is downloading old streams from YouTube, grabbing a little 5-minute section with a piece of knowledge or whatever, a topic that people want to know about, and put up an individual edit with just that little thingy. Tiago says build planning. Okay, cool, awesome. Mr. Huggy says you can also do unlisted live streams, so only people that see the Discord or Patreon posts can watch. So that's what I did yesterday. I tried that yesterday, and I looked at the analytics here today before I did this stream, and there was a big difference in the viewership of yesterday's live stream versus normal live streams. So I'm hoping I can compare yesterday to what I'm doing right now, because right now this is fully public, and get to see. I think I like the idea better of having this be public, so that every single live stream I do is not behind a paywall, including Therapy Thursdays. This is also an idea that I had from Therapy Thursdays. My plan for those live streams is to, like I did on the one that exists, just be 99.9. Like, there are things that I just won't talk about, but I want that to be like minuscule, and in order to do that, and what I realized in thinking about it after I did that live stream, is that I don't necessarily want public, like forever, right, on the internet, public record of like all my deepest, darkest mental illness secrets, right? So I ended up making that stream private, or unlisted rather, and the link to it is in the FPV Therapy Facebook group, because I want, yeah, like the point of those Therapy Thursday streams is a live stream for the people in that group, so that we can just keep talking about this shit and just keep learning from each other. And yeah, I don't see why that same little model can't work here. And then I don't feel like I don't feel as bad about having these super secret streams that you have to pay for. No, you don't have to pay for them. You have to be here for it. And then if you want the replay, sure, you have to pay for the replay. I feel a lot more comfortable, and hopefully that's cool with you guys, because it ain't about me. You guys are my bosses. The people that don't support me on Patreon still support me because they're coming here to watch, right? They're in the view count, they're in the sub count, they're in the thumbs up. So yeah, I want to reward the people that go above and beyond, but I don't want to punish the people that don't, right? But how the hell do I do that? That's the game. That's what I've been trying to figure out for a long time, and hopefully I'm doing a better job at it today than I did yesterday or the day before, right? Mr. Huggy, I called that one out. Chris FPV says, well, if you are happy, you make others happy. Keep doing yourself, Ciotti, and all will go well. Happy new 2021. Sounds good, Chris. Chris, that's the feedback that I keep getting. I try to ask you guys to give me suggestions and whatnot, because I want to make sure that I'm on target with what you guys want to watch. And like, what the 99% of the time, what you guys say is, keep doing exactly what you're doing. I love it. And like, that is sort of flattering beyond the bounds of rational thought, in that like, I don't know. I didn't like plan that, right? Like I wake up, I come in here and I do the stuff that is surrounding me, that is interesting to me, that I think is going to produce really cool footage of situations and events and public spaces that we can fly around, right? Um, so yeah, that's super awesome. But I never want to like not ask you guys, right? Like my fear is that I will become out of touch with the people that support me, and you guys won't want to support me anymore. So yeah, thanks for saying that, Chris. If you guys ever feel like I'm not covering what you want me to cover, please tell me. Please, 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 please do tell me. Um, Guillermo says, so I'm not invited. Um, you are, all are invited. Marcel Roberts says, I don't like darts. I'd rather play billiards. Happy New Year. Happy New Year, Marcel. Um, there's Guillermo going absolutely bananas in the chat and just living up to the infamous title that I gave him a while ago. Don Ladd says, just watched the video. Nice, bro. It was good, right, Don? Here's a question for you guys. Make sure you tag me with your answer. When you watch the video, so I talk in the video about how I think when Joshua watches his footage of him flying this rig, he's gonna like the way that it looks. Could you guys? It's hard for me to judge. I think his footage looked. I'm gonna get sick too. I can feel it. I'm gonna be sick in 2 days from now. Today's Friday. Sim Sunday might not exist because I'm gonna be sick. I should have had my tonsils removed when I was young because they're like way too big, and it's a pain in the ass when I get sick. Like my throat hurts like hell, and I have like a really hard time swallowing. That's what she said. Kristen just said, "That's me right now." As I was saying, that's what she said about a comment that was perfect. But I didn't. But my tonsils are like an early warning sign for when I'm gonna get sick. There's like a specific spot in my throat, I guess, where my tonsils are, that when I even remotely start to get sick, I feel it, and I just felt it. So either Sunday or Monday, I will be sick. Calling it right now. I also like the idea of this stream right here, right now, because I can be as just rambly and just like nuts as possible. So buckle up, buttercups. Don Ladd says, I'll stick to my own. They're mine. I wonder what we were talking about. Gary Higgins says, I've always flown stock. I'm super new to tuning. It's sort of confusing right now. Yeah, Gary, keep flying stock. The stock tune is phenomenal. I mean, I would almost say until you want to do something with your footage, who gives a shit what the tune is like? Right? Like, what good does it do to have a completely locked in tune if you're not going to do anything with the footage? I would kind of rather have a horrible sloppy tune that I had to like work around, that it was like, all right, so let's talk about like cars, right? Toyota Corolla, best car ever made. Arguably, of course, but in terms of a car, seats, steering wheel, wheels, tires, get you to work, comfort, safety, right? All these things that make a car good or bad. Toyota Corolla, best car ever. Almost unarguably. You can argue like Honda Accord maybe, but like let's just Toyota Corolla, best car ever made. I'll never own a Toyota Corolla because it's the most boring, uncharacteristic, like shit heap, in my opinion, ever. But it's the best car ever. Can't argue that it's the best car ever because you're calling it a car, right? I I would rather have a rattly shitbox Toyota Corolla, A86 Toyota Corolla, which has a solid rear axle, trailing arms, the chassis moves around in the suspension, because I have to work as a driver to get that thing to do what I want it to do. This is what happened when I went from my 1996 SN95 Mustang Cobra convertible to my Miata. The Mustang Cobra was super fun because I had to like manhandle it, and it did all these things wrong that I would have to work around, and it was just such a riot to drive that thing around. And then the Miata is like from a suspension geometry standpoint, and like from the way that the car reacts at the limit of traction, it's perfect. And like, this is a weird comparison because the Miata is a super fun car to drive because it's so lightweight and it's so well balanced. But if we compare like the Mustang to the Toyota Corolla would probably turn damn near as quick times at autocross because it's a lot lighter. But it would just be completely boring as shit to drive, right? Because I don't have to work. It just does everything well, and it's comfy, and you know what I'm saying? So like, yeah, it almost stands to reason that, well, and a sloppy PID tune is very forgiving. You can bend your props up, you can bend the motors up, you can have broken arms, like you can have a shit heap of a rig, and it's going to be safe. It's not going to cook motors. It's not going to cook ESCs. So yeah, when 99% of the time when I get messages from you guys that say, hey, help me tune, what I reply back with is, awesome. What's the quad doing wrong? Like, why, basically? Why do you want to tune? Like, straight up, tell me why. Is it because... And a lot of times, like, once that conversation develops, it's like, well, screw it, I'll just run the stock tune. I'm like, cool. If that changes, let me know, and we'll get you off the stock tune. But yeah, if you come to me and you tell me like, hey, let's tune, and I say why, and you say, well, I don't know, I'm supposed to, or like everybody's tuning, it's the cool thing. If I say to you like, well, what do you do with your footage? Well, nothing. Well, where do you fly at? Oh, just in the backyard. Well, is it doing anything wrong right now? No. You've not get like. How about we not tune it? Keep flying it. It's going to be safer. It's going to give you more enjoyment because it's safer. If the tune's not perfect, you're going to have to work as a pilot on how to fly around the tune, which is a really good skill to have. That's one of the things that the really top level of pro pilots can do better than anybody, is fly around problems. And it's, I was just saying fly around the tune, and then I said fly around problems. That's what you're doing, right? Like the situations that make the tune react poorly, you can fix those situations with the sticks, right? The prop wash, all right, so here's a beautiful example of this. One of the main reasons I don't like KISS or Flight 1 is that they don't handle bounce back as well. Very specifically in a move that I love the look of, which is to put the nose down, generate a bunch of forward momentum, and then you basically just take both sticks and hammer them in either to the left or to the right. And what that does is it coordinates a completely flat spin, where you're adding yaw, but you're also adding roll, and when you add them in that equal amount, it almost perfectly flat spins, and it's just a really cool look. Well, when you do this perfectly flat rotation on KISS or Flight 1, and you do it hard with a bunch of P gain, it bounces back and it doesn't look good. Whereas when you do this move in Betaflight, it looks really cool. It looks exactly the way that I want it to look. All right, maybe you like the way that this move looks with bounce back. That's fine. I don't. I think it looks terrible with bounce back. I think that, in that movement, the coolest look for that movement is for it to not have bounce back, is for it to, like, you could say robotically, right? Some people think that bounce back looks more natural. I hate it. I think it looks terrible. I think it looks like an error. Well, shit, I forgot. I really lost my train of thought on that one. Son of a bitch. What was I just talking about? Somebody help me out in the chat. This is going to give me a chance to get caught up in the chat, so that's good. Oh, wow, the chat's... okay. The chat was lagging behind, and let's get caught up. Chris Potato says, yo, what's up? How you doing? I'm doing good. FPV Hawk says, why Patreon only? FPV Hawk, rewind back to the beginning of this, and I've explained it, I think, twice now. And this isn't technically Patreon only. This is an open public stream right now. As I explained it a third time so that you don't have to go look. I'm doing this to give the patrons more access to exclusive content as a thank you for them supporting me and literally making this possible. But I don't want to put these streams... This is going to be an almost daily thing. I'm going to try to stream every day in 2021. Sometimes it's going to be a little half-ass stream like this. At the end of this stream today, this is going to flip automatically to unlisted, and this is going to become a Patreon only stream. So this is my way of trying to not punish the people that aren't on Patreon by giving them access to this right now, because it is public right now. But then the replay is going to be Patreon only, so that I give the patrons something extra for the something extra that they gave me, right? So hopefully everybody's cool with that. And by titling this right now Patreon only, it allows me to not have to change the title after the stream, but it also raises awareness, I guess, of the fact that I'm putting extra content up on Patreon. So push yourself if you're not on there to pay me $3 a month. 10 cents a day. You guys can all do it. I have faith in you. And Patreon is an awesome place. You're going to love it. FPV Hawk says, live is better than watching your stream back later. Very true. Oh, yeah, very true. And that also sort of helps my brain with the whole, like, don't put everything behind the paywall. Yeah. If you don't want to join the Patreon page, all you got to do is subscribe and click the bell. These are going to be public as I'm doing them, and just as FPV Hawk just said, it's a better experience to watch these live anyway. Yeah. However I have to justify it. Whatever I have to do to sleep at night. Guillermo says, I get the idea of Patreon, but channels way to direct in Patreons, for me, it's a shoot in the foot because you don't get the subscriber by Patreon. What do those words mean in that sequence? What is Guillermo trying to say? I get the idea of Patreon, but a channel's way to direct in Patreons, for me, it's a I tried, Guillermo. I can't figure it out. I'm sorry, dude. I smooth brain, dumb streamer, all the things. Don Ladd says, I'll be here no matter what you do to help mod and enjoy your content. You do so much for the new peeps coming in the hobby. Thanks, Don. I appreciate that, man. CrackFPV is here. Happy New Year indeed. Guillermo also says, I found that, for example, UAV Futures, so I'm also kind of stealing UAV Futures setup, to be really honest. I found that, for example, UAV Futures is very much Patreon oriented, and I don't like that. I have a fight with him about that, plus I don't like Stu. Oh, UAV Futures, not UAV Tech. I'm sort of stealing UAV Tech's. So Mark over at UAV Tech is doing something super cool where he puts a public edit up, and at the end of the public edit, he says, hey, we're going to go even further in detail over on my Patreon page. And his Patreon page exploded, which is so cool. So yeah, I'm sort of pulling off of that. I love that idea. I'm just trying to kind of make it my own. I try not to like just straight up steal other streamers, other YouTubers good ideas slash unique things about them that they do. I try to take them and make it my own, just so that I don't feel like I'm copying other people. You know what I mean? I didn't know that about UAV Futures. Yeah, but I totally see what you're saying, Guillermo, and I don't disagree with you. But I need to eat. I need to figure out a way to make a lot more than I currently am, or this is not going to end, but this is going to become a lot less, right? Like, if you like look at my channel in 2019, that's the amount of content that I can provide while I have a day job, while I have a 40-hour a week day job, sucking my will to live. I think you'll see that in 2020, there was a whole, when I started doing this full time, there was a whole hell of a lot more content, and I would love to continue doing that, as long as I can manage it with my mental health, which is a hell of a struggle. But I keep asking people in my private life, and they keep telling me that since I've been doing this full time, they think that my mental health is arguably either the same or a little bit better. I think it's been different. I don't think it's been better or worse. I think it's been very different. But this has been a whole new thing, right? Like, this has been and it's been a really 2020 was a very difficult year. So 2020 is a very unique sort of situation there. But yeah, I don't know. I don't have the answers. I come on here and I interact with you guys, and I try my best to find the situation that is going to benefit everybody the most. Unfortunately, it's never going to be perfect for everyone. I'm trying to make it perfect for the right people. I don't want to say like I'm trying to get it right for the most number of people possible, because that's definitely not what I want. The goal is not to just be a famous whatever and just get like the highest number of views and subs. Like, I'm trying to make good stuff for and build a community of awesome people, a community of people that don't shit on me, because I don't deal well with that. I don't deal well with negative comments on my videos at all. I remember pretty much every single negative comment I've ever gotten, and in most cases I remember the person that left them. I'm broken. Like, I don't deal well with strangers saying fuck you or your face sucks, or yeah, I don't do well with that. So I have to build, you know what I mean? Like I have to have a little bit of a different approach than just like subs, views, which is probably a good thing, because that can very quickly become toxic and like just ugh, right? Like ugh. So yeah, I don't know. Trying to do a thing. I feel like I'm trying to do something that's kind of pretty different, but that's a good thing. Different is good. Yeah, I want to have something unique here, and that's proving to be pretty difficult, but I'm in. You know, here I am. I'll see you again tomorrow. Probably. Yeah, no, I'm doing streaming every day. Sometimes these streams are only going to be 15, 20 minutes, too. I'll come on here, give you guys a little something, say hey, and be out. But I want to try to, make myself available to you guys as much as possible. And what I'm realizing also is that trying to, like, think ahead for the day and like plan like an official video and like make an official thumbnail that looks really good, and like have a like a table of contents in my head of what I want to cover on the stream, and like that takes more. That takes too much time to do that. It's going to be a lot, and then I just come on here and ramble anyway. So like, I don't know. I have high hopes for this thing that I just figured out like in the last 2 days. But this has been cooking. This has been, yeah, it has just been something I've been thinking about. How do I balance this? How do I balance giving the Patreons what they deserve for their hard-earned money that they're sending me so that I can keep going with this versus how do I grow it a little bit more so that it is something that I can do beyond like March of 2021 because in its current state it's not quite there, and I want to get it there as soon as possible because money is getting to be a real issue. I've really pushed myself and my finances so that I can keep doing this because I know that I have to, right? Like turning a hobby into a career is really difficult. Turning something that you enjoy doing into something that you enjoy doing and make enough money to live off of is super hard. And it should be super hard. If it was easy, everybody would do it. So, yeah. FPV Hawk says, Joshua's footage looked better than normal. I thought so too. I'm glad that someone else thinks so. Toxic FPV says, you're the first person I've supported through Patreon. If anyone deserves the support, it's you, brother man. Sign up today. Awesome, Toxic. I really appreciate it. As I've said before too, I also love getting you guys onto Patreon because I really do believe in Patreon as a platform. I really do believe in supporting human beings. And I think that might be something that becomes more popular in the future. I hope. And I hope that you guys find other awesome people on Patreon that you can throw $2 a month because that means a lot to them. When a whole bunch of people throw $2 a month at you, you can do some really cool shit, as evidenced by 2020 for me. I can do whatever I want, but I try not to like, oh, 2020 was the worst. Oh, it was the worst because I did something I never thought I'd be able to do in 2020. And you guys made that possible. And that's super cool. And I don't, I don't want to take that lightly. I also feel it's kind of disrespectful to you guys for me to sit here and go, oh, 2020 sucked so fucking bad. Ugh. Right? Like, that's not fair to you guys. You guys worked your asses off to allow me to not have that horrible of a 2020 and to be able to chase this dream or whatever. So, yeah. Thank you guys. I hope I say it enough. I try to say it a lot. I don't care if I say it too much. Thank you guys. I really fucking mean that. Every single time I say it, I really mean it. Frank is here. He says, I like the Rando streams, like we're just chatting with no agenda or schedule. Please keep up notifying Patreon, maybe a few more minutes in advance. So, for the record, guys, those of you who use the Patreon emails that go out when I make a Patreon post to find this stream and to come to these, you have Frank to thank for that. Frank messaged me at some point, like, hey, can you just, like, really quickly put a Patreon post up every time before you stream, because I'm not on Facebook, and I'm not on, this is Frank talking, I'm talking as Frank, I'm not on Facebook, and I think you're not on, I guess you are on Discord, Frank, but, yeah, he said, the Patreon email that comes through is my way, is the way that I see that you're streaming, and then click the button and go and come hang out with you. And I said, yeah. And I don't remember every time. I try to remember every time. I get it, like, more often than not. But, yeah, you guys have Frank to thank for that. And I have Frank to thank for that, because I just didn't I didn't think about that. I just didn't think that there might be someone who getting an email from Patreon was on their phone, right? We all have our phones set up differently with like different notifications and stuff like that. I'm assuming on Frank's phone, the email pops up and he sees it and he says, "Hey, I can come hang out." Tell me stuff like that, guys. If if you miss the live streams because of a reason, and there's a somewhat easy way for me to fix that reason, I want to fix that reason. The at everyone on Discord is a godsend for me. I'm still probably not going to use Discord because it just, I don't know, I can't find the time to work Discord. Every time I go on Discord, I get sucked in, and there's all this good stuff on there, and it's like an hour later, and I just don't have an extra hour in my day to put into Discord, unfortunately. Unless you guys tell, I don't know. I've never really used Discord previously though, so maybe I need to start using it more. I don't know. I don't like Discord as much. I don't know. I don't have the answers. Dustin Gable says, "See, that's the thing about other FPV channels. You have 3 other people on the feed speaking, not listening to any of the chat, sitting around bragging about how good they are." I don't want to say yeah because I don't want to throw anybody under the bus, but thanks for saying that, Dustin. That I'm trying to avoid things like that. Mr. Huggy says, "Don't worry about look after yourself." Also talking about Sim Sunday, I would recommend the Polyworld DM Velocity map for freestyle. Huggy, there's no way I'm going to remember that. I hope you come to Sunday's stream and remind me of that. I could write it down in this little note sheet thing that I've got, but there's a million things written on that note sheet, and it's just going to get buried. I need a better way. I am on Trello. I totally forgot about Trello, and then I saw on one of Joshua's videos that he uses Trello, and I remembered. I used to use Trello way back at one of my PM jobs where they didn't have a good content management CRM. I don't even know if that's the right acronym anymore. I've been out of the game for a while. But yeah, I haven't had to use Trello professionally for a while, and I just totally forgot it existed. What else we got? What else? Oh man, YouTube did the thing. Here we are. Where's it at? I'm really lost in the chat right now. There we go. Frank says YouTube/Google still sucks at notifications. They just don't work. Used to, and then they quit in September, October of 2020. I didn't realize there was like a specific time that it really started failing. But yeah, Frank is right. The notifications are tough though. I'll play devil's advocate and say that I assume it seems like it's tough to manage a ton of notifications, right? Like, how does YouTube, people that subscribe to 1,000 channels, you can't send them, you know what I mean? You can't send them all the notifications. So these platforms have stuff built in where, like, if you're clicking on a lot of car videos, they will show you more car video notifications. It's interesting. I wish there was a button that we could hit that says, send me all notifications, or send me your recommended notifications, I guess it would be. This is why on YouTube, the way that I use YouTube in my personal life, well, here's a perfect example of this. When I come up here to my URL bar and I type in you, the first suggestion whoops, is subscriptions. Because that's where I go. That's how I use YouTube. I go to my subscriptions, and this way it shows me every single new video. But the problem is, I have to every once in a while I have to like go through and cull some of my subscriptions, because once there's a point where I'm subscribed to so many people that when I come into YouTube and go to my subscriptions, there's like 100 videos from the last 24 hours, and it's just like super overwhelming. So I sort of balance that with using YouTube's homepage, which gives you like the recommendation, you know what I mean? Which yeah, I don't know. It's an imperfect system, but we do what we can. I don't know where I'm going with this. Dustin Gable says, then your channel, you talk to your audience and share stuff and interact. Yeah. There's been a couple. I've always been a fan of live streamers, and I've watched live streamers a good amount in the last like 10 or so years, and I've taken little bits and pieces that I've enjoyed from those other people's live streams. The interaction part and the reading all the comments part 100% came from Riker. Riker is a Diablo streamer, content creator here on YouTube, also on Twitch, I believe, and yeah, he's who I also stole reading all of the and I've got a runny nose. I'm definitely getting sick. He's who I stole reading everybody's names at the beginning of the chat, and just reading as much of the chat as possible. We have grown to the point where it is literally impossible for me to read the entire chat. It is starting to get to the point where it's almost impossible, as you guys know, to read all of the at tags, as we're 57 minutes into this and I'm at least 20 minutes behind in the chat, right? That's the problem with doing that. The solution to that is the solution with all the other live streams that have grown beyond the point where I'm apparently at right now, which is that you miss when people at tag you. You never miss the super chats, and I will never miss the super chats. It feels weird. I don't like having to say that. I don't like having to say, hey, at tag me, and I'll try my best. If you super chat me, I'll definitely read it. Although now that I say that out loud, that's I guess that's totally fair. But I don't know. I want to hang out with you guys, man. I don't. It's. I get it, man. I've been broke for a long time. I've had jobs that have paid well, but I've always had enough debt where I've always sort of like lived broke. Like there was a couple years where I was kind of living large, buying a good amount of parts for my Mustang and buying some parts for the Miata. I wasn't buying parts for Ferraris, right? I was buying parts for the two cheapest go fast platforms that exist, arguably, of course, but they are. So I totally get it. And I just try to be as respectful of that as humanly possible. But I gotta eat. So we'll see. We'll see what comes in 2021. It's a moving target, and I love the suggestions that you guys give me. Keep them coming. You guys are doing a great job, and I super appreciate it. What do we got? What do we got going? Don Laz says, I was talking about my tune, bro. Taking me years to get my tune to where it is now. I've got a tune for racing and a tune for freestyle. Did I think that you were talking about like the channel? That's embarrassing. And the footage of your rig looked locked in and smooth. What did I? Oh, I think Don might have retracted the message so that it doesn't. Wait. Yeah. Maybe I made myself look like an idiot. I'm fine with that. I'm down to look like an idiot as long as you guys got it. Somebody in the universe got a smile out of it. Because, yeah, whatever. Mr. Huggy says, I drove my girlfriend's, my girlfriend's great. My friend's Mustang from Philly to Toronto, been from Philly to Toronto. Being from the UK, it's a bit different, but fun. Yeah, Mustangs are great Grand Touring cars, man. Oh my god. They're great cars, full stop. I cannot wait for the day that I own another Mustang. I really, like, they're just so much fun. It's just such a cool mix of like enjoyable driving, great audio, exhaust note, good enough sort of suspension and chassis dynamics. Cars are cheap enough, huge aftermarket. The owners, Mustang owners, are, most of them I don't want to hang out with. But there is a group of, the Mustang is a platform that handles well enough that there is a good motorsport contingent of people who build Mustangs to handle, and those people are great, and those people are awesome to hang out with. Anybody that's into cars will totally understand and love the last 30 seconds that I just said, because the owners of different types of car, buying a car based on the other people that own that car and the crowd that you're going to get into is not a terrible idea. A bunch of people are smiling ear to ear right now with that one. Cars are a big hobby, so the big hobbies can attract big numbers of dumb, douchey assholes. I'll move on before I put my foot in my mouth about any specific types of car. FPV Hawk says, all my best flights are when my GoPro batteries are dead. Me too, FPV Hawk. Literally, like, I've had some of the best moments of flying where I've either smashed the GoPro and lost the footage at the end of it, or it was just straight up not on. And it's not even just like in those moments, you remember it the most because you get super angry. There's literally been like stuff that's happened where it's like, oh my god, I will never be able to do that again. And the GoPro's on fire. Dustin says, gives more incentive to become a Patreon. Yep, I'm trying to do that. I'm trying to just give like little nudges, like little nudges for people, so that I don't have to like constantly bang on about it, and so that half of my live stream isn't, hey, go to the Patreon and support me. Like I want to give like a little nudge every so often, and just like, yo, it's $3 a month. You can do it. I know you can. And it makes a big difference. Here's a question for you guys. What do you guys think the reason is for people that want to watch me that don't join the Patreon? Is it because they can't get onto Patreon's website for some reason? Is it because they straight up don't have the $3 a month? I've always wondered that. I've always wondered, like, what would be the reason for someone not... Because to me, $3 a month is 10 cents a day. Even when I was at my brokest, at my most broke... oh, hey, that's right now. No, it's not. I've been more broke than this before. Even in those moments, right, I've had $3 a month. And, like, if when I was starting off in this hobby, I had somebody like me that did testing like this and made themselves so available... What I'm trying to say is, $3 a month, I feel like I will easily save every single person that joins my Patreon $3 a month. That's what I'm trying to say. But how do I tell everyone that, right? And I think a part of that is understanding why people don't join the Patreon. That's what I was trying to figure out there. So yeah, do you guys have any thoughts? Tag me. I'll eventually read your comment. Double A is here. What's up, Double A? Xenakis is here. Everybody check out FPV Exchange or I will stab you in your faces. It is awesome. It comes alive the more people that get on it. It's free to sign up. It's free to import all of your stuff into one place. It makes selling your gear way easier than Facebook Marketplace. Just take my word for it. And yeah, the folks that have gone over to FPV Exchange and signed up, all I've heard from those folks is like, this is gnarly. Like, this is really cool. There's a lot of power here. It just needs people. It needs people to be on there, uploading their stuff and typing in their location so that if we're on vacation somewhere and we blow our stuff up, we can find somebody that's got the right replacement part quick. Xenakis says, I got to coordinate my schedule with yours someday. Build kit giveaway to whoever you choose. Glide 5-inch frame kit with Bot Grinder V2 2207 2500s, Hobby Wing 60 amp ESC, and props. There's another reason for you to go check out FPV Exchange, because Xenakis is up in here making offers like that. That's super cool. Nevin, I feel like could I somehow become like the FPV Exchange mechanic? I don't see. I'm hesitating because I hate building, and I don't want to sign myself up to have to do a lot of building, but if somehow for enough money I'll do anything. Right? So like if I can become like the FPV Exchange mechanic, building rigs that make the two of us a good amount of money for people that have the money and are willing to spend the money, that's something I think is really important, right? I'm not in this to just make a bunch of money. It's about this all being palatable and not ruining the hobby for me, which is a real concern because every hobby I've had up until this point I've completely burned out and I never want to do again, ever. I love this idea. Nevin, you got my brain going 1,000 miles an hour right now. Yeah, we got to figure something out. That's a really cool idea, dude. That's like an extension of what I was thinking of building these glides and then selling them exclusively on FPV Exchange. Yeah, I'm gonna think some more about that one. We gotta talk that out. That's a really cool idea. J. Drone says, what kind of tuning tips would you give me if I want to stiffen up and smooth out my rig? 3-inch 1404 motors, 240 grams all up weight. You're not gonna want to hear this, Jay, but the biggest thing, I think, to improving. So let's put tuning aside. Well, actually, this is a really interesting. This is a really great question. You're asking for tuning tips, which are sort of free, right? We'll talk about that in a second. If you had asked, what kind of advice would you give me? I want to stiffen up and smooth out my quad, 3-inch 1404 motors, 240 grams all up weight. My advice would be to put different motors on it. 3-inch props on 1404 motors. So switch that. 1404 motors don't have the authority for 3-inch props. They don't have the mechanical torque or the stator volume, in my opinion, for 3-inch props. Unless it's a 3-inch bi-blade, but let's keep flying tri-blades. They crash a lot better, and they perform a lot better. They're not so loose and slidey. So my advice would be to fix the mechanical system, because your mechanical system is lacking, and tuning a mechanical system that's lacking is never going to give you as good of a performing rig as fixing the mechanical system. In the same way that if you're building a drag car that's currently a 4-cylinder tuning the balls out of that 4-cylinder, either with just straight up engine tune. I mean, I guess the most one-to-one scenario would be to say engine tuning, trying to engine tune. I'm sorry, the ECU tune. Sorry, ECU tune a 4-cylinder to be as fast as just dropping an LS1 in it, which is a V8. Right? So my real advice is to move over to either a 1306 motor if you can. Emax makes one that's 12 by 12 mount base, and I'm basing this motor selection off of your 240 gram all up weight. 1306 from Emax. That's a 12 by 12 motor mount. This is going to depend on your frame. If your frame is 9x9 mount only, you can go to My RC Mart, and there's an RCX 1306 that's brilliant. That's 9x9 mount. Or if you're 12x12 mount, the Brother Hobby 1504.5 is my favorite. That is my absolute favorite motor for the all-up weight that you're at and for 3-inch props. Now, if you don't want to spend any money, which is fine, and you just want tuning tips, Jay, I think you're on my Patreon page. If you are, at the very top, there's a thing that says Tech Tips. Click Tech Tips. It's going to organize, it's going to just show you the articles that I have in there that I've tagged Tech Tips, and there's a bunch of really good PID tuning and filter tuning step-by-step tutorials in there. That's what you want to do. I always do filters first because reasons. That's too long of a discussion. But yeah, and the filter tuning is a pretty straightforward step-by-step method, and you're just checking motor heat each step of the way. You can probably I have like 5 or 6 or 7 steps in there, and I tell you to go very, very slowly because I don't want you guys to cut your faces off. You can probably do like 2 steps at a time, or maybe even like 3 steps at a time. So like do steps 1, 2, and 3, go fly it, check for motor heat. And I talk about this all in there. So yeah, you're going to go in there, you're going to tune your filters. That's going to bring the latency of the system down. And then you're going to go into the PIDs. And like, PID tuning is not like... the other reason I like this live stream format is because I've always really tried hard to demystify PID tuning and give you guys... I really try to make you guys comfortable enough to tune for yourself and not to rely on others or use other people's diffs or dump files. And so don't be afraid of the PID tune, especially because we can do it in the OSD. Pick a day and just go out with a bunch of batteries, land, change something in the PID tune, fly the rig, flop it all around, see if it feels any different. Land it again, go back into the OSD and change something else, fly it around. Just sit there, like maybe take a screenshot of your tune and your filters before this day, right? Because you're probably gonna fuck everything up, and you might get it to the point where you can't fly all your batteries because you've wrecked the tune so bad. That's fine. I mean, technically, you might even cook a motor. Worst case, you could cook an ESC, but usually you'll catch it before you blow up an ESC. Am I back focused? But yeah, go out and screw around with the PIDs in the OSD. Like, it's a big deal. Being able to change the PIDs in the OSD is amazing. And you're just like, it's so hard to really understand what P, I, and D are doing individually and to one another. Like that, I think that's what makes it so difficult, is that each one of those affects one another, and nobody really talks about that because it's kind of it's like exponential. To talk about it is just exponentially impossible, and by the time you fully explain it, you've lost 99.9% of your audience. That 0.01% of your audience already knew. Because that's the only way they were able to follow you through the whole fucking diatribe you just went on. So, yeah. Long way to give the answer of raise P and D gain. I gain the default I gain values are damn near perfect nowadays. The P and the D gain values and the D min really depend on each individual rig and each individual pilot what they want from the way that the rig flies. If you want stiff and smooth, I'll send you the phone number of my ex-wife. I don't have an ex-wife. Yeah, if you want stiff in the air, so when the rig is in the air and wind hits it, wind is error, and that makes it bobble. Or if it's flying through the air and there's just like some inconsistencies to the air, to the AIR, that inconsistent AIR, so that when it wobbles, is creating ERROR, error. P gain, you can think of as power. How much power am I giving the PID loop? All the PID loop is error correction. I would really rather we no longer call it PID loop and call it error correction. Wobbly, error, more power to fix wobbly. D gain is gonna damp that out. It's the set of it's a fresh set of shocks or a set of really high performance racing shocks. The higher you crank the D gain up, there's a limit to how high you can go on the P gain without then adding D gain. So yeah, one of the huge like aha moments that I had with tuning was when I just started to go into the OSD. This was back in like 3.5.7 days. I would add 5 points as P gain and 5 points of D gain. And then I would take back off and fly around. And then I would come back and I would land and I would add 5 and 5. And I would take off, fly around, land, add 5 and 5, add 5 and 5, add 5 and 5. Eventually when you do that, the rig goes banana pants. And I would go in and I would take 10 off of both. And that's pretty much how I, like, after probably about a year of really, like, I watched Joshua's PID Tuning Ultimate whatever video series that he has on his channel 7 or 8 times, all the way through, front to back. I mean, that's like, that's probably hundreds of hours of watching that. And I landed on this, like, caveman way of doing it. And there's a lot more nuance than that, but it works really well. And yeah, just have that understanding. P gain is power. How much power am I going to allow the PID loop, the error correction, to have to correct outside force error? And then, oh, this is where I was going with that. Eventually, when you get the P gain high enough, it's going to have so much power that it can start feeding back into itself, because it gets like dirty air. It gets dirty air, which creates error, and then it corrects that error too far and bounces the other way and bounces the other way and bounces the other way. Just like a car on blown shocks bouncing down the highway. It never stops bouncing because there's no dampening. I'm sorry, damping. Dampening means to make something wet, right? Dampen something. Damping is what D gain is doing and what shocks do. That stops it from continuing to bounce. So once you get P gain to a point, it's going to start to bounce around. You have to add D gain. The ratio of P to D is not 1-to-1, but extra additional D gain is a really good thing, in my opinion. The way that it makes the rig kind of sit in the air and handle prop wash better, and there's a lot of advantages. And what I've found is we have a little bit more P gain than we need on the stock tune. Like, the stock tune is safe, and having a little bit higher of a P to D ratio, having a little bit more P gain than D gain, tends to be a little bit safer on the stock tune when the numbers are turned down. But when you start to want to stiffen it up and smooth it out, raising the P and the D gain at the same 5 and 5, where you end up with is a higher, since the D gain numbers are lower, by raising a lower number up by 5, it's a bigger total change. It's a bigger change. It's a higher percentage gain, right? And that works really well, because it pushes the rig. Yeah, it just fly. Rigs just fly better with a little bit more D gain ratio than stock, in my opinion. And that's what you see in a lot of my footage. I run a lot of D gain. If you guys look at this diff, my D max is higher than my P gains, and like a lot of people see that and like, what the hell? It's totally safe because I use D-min. But yeah, rigs with additional D gain, in my opinion, fly really good. All right, that was a hell of a rant. Alexander is in the house. What if you flipped the Patreon idea on its head? Stream live with patrons, then playback for non-patrons, at least for a few. So I haven't done the bring people onto the show thing, and stream with patrons like you're saying, mainly because it's almost impossible to control like the quality. Like if I bring somebody else on that's not using a good mic, that's not using a good camera, that doesn't have a good internet connection, it's a nightmare. And like every time I see someone else do it and it's not really good, I'm just like, fuck, man, I'm never gonna do this. So I doubt that you'll ever see that. But I do want to start having people on the streams. They're gonna be people who I know have streamed before, or at least have a camera and a microphone and an internet connection and an ability to talk to the camera, which not everybody has. It's taken me a long time to develop the ability to talk to the camera, and I'm still shit at it. Like, I still nervously laugh way too much. I still say and all the time. So, as I say So yeah, I doubt that I will ever stream with patrons, to be totally honest. And the other thing is, like, trying to figure out a way to say this that doesn't sound mean. I'll just say it. I don't mean this to be mean, but it's going to come out mean. Fair warning. My patrons don't have... People don't know... I figured it out. People don't know who most of you patrons are, so they kind of also don't care. No, it still sounds horrible. People want to watch videos from people that they know, right? Like, bringing patrons on the stream is awesome for that one individual patron, right? That patron is super thrilled that they got to be on one of my streams, but unfortunately nobody else really knows them for the most part. See what I'm saying? See how mean that sounds? Yeah, I don't know. Now I feel terrible. The big thing is the technological issue. And I'm not an interviewer. I've never interviewed someone, so I'm not going to be good at it. Yeah. Moving on, because I don't know how to continue with that with that conversation without feeling even worse about myself. Yeah. Dazbug says, nice job with the build. Glad you enjoyed Joshua's video. I'm assuming that's what you're referring to, Dazbug. Let me get caught up in the chat. I'm getting more and more behind. Guillermo says, it's okay, the Patreon thing. I watch it live always. Zanakis says, Happy New Year. Yes, Happy New Year. Kamikala says, what's the best way to reach out for some tuning advice when I know what I want? Kamikala, if you want to support me and get like specific one-on-one Zoom or phone call time, CIOTTI'S.com, and then there's a Fiverr button on there. And inside of Fiverr, one of my gigs is I work with you on tuning for a half an hour. I forget what it is in there. But yeah, that's the way if you want to support me. If you just want help, you can just message me. Message me at CiottiFPV on Instagram or Facebook or Patreon. I'm probably not going to do a Zoom call with you, but type as much as you want. I'm going to read it. I'm going to give you the best possible reply that I can. And yeah, we're going to work together. I really, really, really try to never put, I don't know. I want to help everybody. Can't help everybody because there's not enough time in the day, but up to this point, I'm not so inundated that I can't reply back to everyone. And quite frankly, if Joshua can reply back to everyone, I certainly can as well. So I I sort of have to, but I also want to, which is nice. But yeah, Joshua sets the bar real high by replying back to every single person that messages, emails, harasses him. I don't know how the hell he does it. I have no idea. It's one of the things about him that he could make a video and just come on the screen and just be like, you guys are all assholes and I hate you all. And I would just be like, that's cool. I still love you. And you're still like a god among men. Yeah. Helping, getting messages from people, getting unsolicited messages from people asking for help, and then taking your time for free to help them. That's something that not a lot of people would be willing to do for hours and hours and hours a day, every single day, for years and years and years, right? So it's something that I don't think people appreciate as much as they should about Joshua. And anybody else that does that, right? Because not a lot of people do it. I've messaged a lot of people in this hobby, and a lot of them continue to not get back to me. And I'm not asking them for something that's going to take them 20 minutes of troubleshooting. I'm asking them for God knows what, but you guys know what I'm saying. Ripper FPV says, thoughts on the shark bite in the Tiny Trainer? It's a nano camera, so that makes sense. Yeah. Shark bite Tiny Trainer makes a lot of sense, huh? I guess depending on the, I mean, I'm not a fan of the Tiny Trainer. It's there's props and we've talked about this. It's not a freestyle rig. A shark bite Tiny Trainer makes a lot of sense. Yeah, more sense than a DJI Tiny Trainer, right? Hey, Fat Shark. Nah, that's a tough ask. But if Fat Shark wants a very, the shark bite thing, it really, I'm still trying to figure out who it's for. You know what I'm saying? And so if you're in we're starting to see more and more Tiny Trainer spec racing leagues. If you're in a Tiny Trainer spec racing league and you want digital, shark bite is a much better option than DJI, because the shark bite AIO 25 by 25, whatever the hell they are, VTX, well, exists. DJI doesn't have a 25 by 25 VTX. They've only got 20 by 20, and putting a 20 by 20 into a tiny trainer is doable, but it's a pain in the ass. So yeah, that's cool. That's a really good. That's a hard and fast, like, if you're super into tiny trainer spec racing, shark bite, bro. I really like that. That's really cool. Yeah. That's super cool. And that also helps me with this, because I'm going to be buying that 25.5 by 25.5, I think, are the actual numbers, shark bite VTX, and I did this without even realizing, like, wait, what am I going to put that in? And I still don't know. If I hadn't sold my tiny trainer to T-Bird, I would be putting it in there. But that's not the answer. There's too much prop in view. And putting it into an actual tiny whoop, me personally, I don't want to do that, because my tiny whoops are Insta360 Go carriers, and I'm not going to add the extra weight of this digital VTX to a tiny whoop, even a 75. I'm not going to add any extra weight. So I think this is going to find its way into some sort of like a 3-inch freestyle build. I just got to find one that supports. Thus far, all my 3-inch freestyle stuff is 20 by 20. And I still think that 20 by 20 is the way to go. But the AIO thing is interesting, and we're throwing a lot of R&D at it, and it'll get there. It'll get better. I don't know if it'll ever be as good, but it'll get really good. It's already pretty good. I gotta pee. Here's my computer. Hope you guys don't mind waiting. I have to wait, so you have to wait too. I just clicked a folder. I didn't think that was such a big deal. Apparently it is. Let's watch more pipes. You guys have seen the pipes footage, but not all of it. Here's some pipes while I pee. need those guys to put the pipes back. I only got this one day flying them. I should have flown the hell out. I should have flown those props so hard. Fung Ho says, tell us why you hate Stu. I don't hate Stu. How could you hate Stu? Nobody hates Stu. Stu is unhateable. Stu's great. Stu is having a... I'm not going to tell that story. I'm not going to tell that story. It doesn't do anybody any good for me to tell that story. Plus it's mental illness related, so I'm not going to... Let's talk FPV. Where am I at in this chat here? Ripper FPV says... No, we got that. Don Ladd says... there are 3 people in Patreon of you, Bot and Bardwell. The way I see it, I get hours of fun from this for so little money, worth it all day. Yeah, right, Don? It's like... How much money a month do you pay for cable? Isn't cable television like $100 a month still? You know, for me, I have not had cable television in probably 20 years. And nowadays, and for probably the past 10 or so years, I get the majority of my like content that I enjoy from YouTube for free. Well, I mean, internet, monthly internet, but yeah, I don't know. I like supporting. I like supporting people, but at the same time, I like the content that like specialists almost produce. That doesn't work. How about this? Production value is a lot less important to me. That's what it is. I'm more about the content than the fancy production value. Yeah. Yeah. Content, not production value. I need to get a little ding noise. Okay. Guillermo says, love you, dude. Say hello to your wife. Gonna go. Big kiss and Happy New Year. He's already gone, but Happy New Year, Guillermo. Tweet FPV in the house. What's up, Dan? Just broken arm. Really? Just broken arm on my QAVS Mini 3-inch. Hey, Dan, where did it break? I would love to know. What did I do with mine? Where did I put it? Oh, there it is. My guess is... Oh, it broke here, didn't it? My guess is going to be that it broke here. Yeah, that's going to be my guess. My guess is going to be that it let go here. Unless I'm very intrigued by the way that they control the arm wanting to move in this direction. It's different, and when a frame designer does that in a different way, it's really hard. Like once we start to put energy into it and all kinds of wacky weird crashes, it's really difficult. So I can't really guess whether or not it let go here. But yeah, the best guess I can make is that it broke right here. I wonder if I'm right. I'm so interested to hear where it broke, Dan. Dazbug says Happy New Year. I hope we all have a better year in 2021. He says, me too, Dazbug. Scroll. Alexander says, I do a lot of woodworking and noticed Many of those YouTubers have a website where they have plans or tutorials for sale. Could be worth considering, like a build guide or tune, etc. Alexander, man, I have been trying, like, that is so difficult in this hobby, just because, like, it's such an exponential, like, there are just so many options, and there's so much information. It's so hard to, like, have a defined. That's why I want to push this live stream format, is because I want you guys to be able to come and us have a conversation about the goals and the tune and whatever, and to get it locked based on that, versus based on, you know, the suggestions that I get. Most of the suggestions that I give you guys are based on me and how I fly and how I crash, and the fact that I'm looking to make video that I use in, like, a professional sense. And, like, that's pretty good advice. Like, that's not going to steer you totally wrong, but for people that are never going to use their footage or don't even bother to fly with HD, my advice falls down a little bit for those people. And it's still pretty good. You're gonna have a rig with HD, and that flies really good, and that's a cool thing. But you might have been able to save a little bit of money, I guess, right? For example, if you're not gonna have HD in there by going to, like, a little bit of a smaller motor, for example, because you're not dragging around HD. And if I just put, so like, I'm working on this project right now, to get a micro section of FPV Know-It-All, Joshua's website, and I'm running into that. Like, every single time I pick a thing, I'm just like, well, yeah, this is my favorite thing, but then I sit there and I'm like, well, fuck, the person that just flies in their backyard, this is not the right, whatever, flight controller for them. And then I sit here and I go, oh my god, well, what about this one? What about this one? And it's taken me forever. But yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like, there's just such a, I've seen the benefits of dialing a rig in, well, the long range rig, the Flywoo 4-inch long range rig is a perfect example. If you are a long range enthusiast, that rig is going to be so good for you. That combination of parts is going to be amazing for you. If you're not super into long range, that thing is going to be awful. Right? So, like, yeah. You know what I'm trying to say. Scroll. Scroll. Wow, I am so far behind on the chat. It's ridiculous. Full speed ahead. Here we go. Awesome thought question, Alexander. Love it. J. Drone says, email notifications are good for me as I don't use Facebook either. What was that, computer? Everything just flashed. Good. That means I'll keep doing the Patreon thing. Tiago says, agree with Frank, I have lost a lot of streams because of stupid YouTube notifications. Yeah, right? Chris Croft says, my notifications work fine. Frank Nicholas says, don't give YouTube a pass on notifications. Email notifications are easy for any stream. For years now, they used to work for me, and through all my research, I can't find why not now. Yeah, I always try to at least look at both sides of it so that I don't know, I just don't find it fair, or it just doesn't help to just demonize, you know, and just like, no! Maybe it does. Tiago says YouTube has all notifications or personalized. This is managed by this recommendation system. Hey, Joshua's here. What's up, well, Joshua was here at 5:35. Now, I'm almost an hour behind on chat. Oh, that's not good. If you're still here, hi, Joshua. Sorry for stealing your thumbnail, but this is not going to be a public stream for much longer. Yeah, I just needed a placeholder. I'm gonna I don't know. I haven't maybe I'll like put. Oh, I have a little cutout. Oh, I know what I'm gonna do. This thumbnail is gonna get a lot more. Hey, Joshua, if you're still here, did you specifically like look for the one frame in that whole interview that we did where both of our mouths were as awful as possible? We're like, which is why I grabbed the thumbnail to use it, because I wanted to immortalize how stupid I look. The thumbnail. Because if as long as people are laughing, I'm cool. If they're laughing at me, as long as I don't find out about it, I'm fine with it. I don't deal well when I find out that people are laughing at me. Zanaka says, build giveaway also includes Bardwell F7 flight controller, keeping it in the community. Awesome. That is super cool. Pedro Tomei says, you're such a nice guy. Thanks, Pedro. Dave's FPV says, yo, love you. Love you too, Dave. Dustin Gable says, understandable. You can't see everything. Okay. I gotta go fast. I gotta get caught up. Leadfinger says, how do you do sim streams? I do, Leadfinger. Sundays. My Sunday streams are called Sim Sundays. So for the past, 2 months, maybe, every single Sunday, there has been simming on the on and in the stream. And then I also use the simulators for instruction. Over on Fiverr, which you can get to from CiottiFPV.com, I have a gig I will which is FPV flight instruction. I also own the domain, which is my main goal, I guess. I own the domain www.fp. Oh shit, I don't know what it is anymore. The FPVinstructor.com, I think that's the domain. I obviously haven't done anything with it yet, but that's what I would love to kind of get to. In the 15 or so years that I had in motorsports previous to this hobby, I was a driving instructor at autocrosses and track days for about 8 or so years, and learning, competing and getting really good at driving is very, very rewarding. Just as rewarding as what we're doing here with piloting. But I reached a point where I was winning my class every year. I got 2 Driver of the Year trophies in South Jersey region in a row. And I just kind of got to this point where I was like, all right, I'm not bored, but I want something different and something else. And I turned to instructing and helping other people go really fast. And I absolutely loved it. It forced me to look at what I was doing in my own driving in a very different way. And basically in a way that I could explain it to someone who hadn't been doing it for many, many years. And that was challenging in a really cool way. And it also helped me out because it forced me to look at my driving in a different way and find... And in just thinking about it differently and trying to wrap my head around the different things that were happening and the different things I was doing with the controls and how the car was reacting, it made me a much better driver as well. So, it was really a win-win-win kind of situation, and I would love to bring that to FPV. It's one of the reasons why I've worked so hard to become a better pilot, just to keep being better and better and better and better, so that I got to a point where I thought, okay, I'm good enough where I can help other people without leading them down the wrong path, kind of thing. So yeah. T.I. Roma says, come on, you only talk about Mustang being a great car when Joshua Bartle is here. I swear to God, I just now saw that Joshua's here. So up until right now, any Mustang love that I've given is just because both of my parents owned Mustangs their entire life. My very first car was a Fox body. My second car was the next generation of Mustang, which is called SN95. I have an irrational love affair of Mustangs that will never die. They're not the best car in the world, but they're an extremely fun car that has an incredible mix of all the different things that make cars interesting and fun, and yeah, that's what I like. I like things that are fun. Raw Pix FPV says, for people in this hobby, $3 can't be an issue. Otherwise, this would be the complete wrong hobby for them. I never thought about that, Raw Pix. That's 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 very true. If you've managed to make this hobby cheap enough where $3 a month is a big deal for you, you're doing something really right that I have not been able to figure out. All that being said, this is the least expensive hobby I think I've ever had. Cars, photography, airsoft is probably as cheap as this. Drums. I'm forgetting other hobbies. Board games. Board games was the cheapest hobby I've ever had. That wasn't much of a hobby, though. It didn't last long. Dustin says, my reason is I just don't have the funds right now, but that will be changing in the next few days, and then I will be. That's awesome, Dustin. I really try to not like guilt trip you guys into having to join the Patreon. I'm so thrilled that anybody listens to anything that I have to say. Right? Like I'm so thrilled that you guys come and hang out and get anything positive from me. That's the juice, man. That's all I've ever wanted from the start, and I try to reality check myself as often as I possibly can, and just remember that's the main focus. 2020 and going full time with this has forced me to also include, it's just opened my eyes to how much more I can do when I don't have a 40-hour-a-week day job. So it introduces this super awkward thing for me of trying to balance giving as much as I can for free, which I love. I love giving it away. My hobbies, I've always loved that I've kept them as hobbies and not monetize them under the thinking of like, I just want to give it away. Like with photography, all I wanted to do was just give my photography away and see the reactions that I got from people when they saw their car light painted in a way that, like, you know, a $10,000 studio shoot would be needed to get the same direct reflections off the back of the car, as an example. But yeah, you can't give everything away if you don't have a source of income. But yeah, Dustin, hopefully I've done an okay job in not making you feel bad about not being on the Patreon. I want the Patreon to be like an extra thing. If you want to do that extra thing and you can do that extra thing, amazing. If not, I want to give you enough that you don't feel like left out. Although that's, now that I say that out loud, it's probably impossible to do that. Chris, because yeah, I mean, if there's more, you're going to want more. Chris Croft says, at the moment, money going to the wedding fund. Nice, Chris. That's, yeah, keep the money going to the wedding fund. You're going to need it. As someone who tried to do a wedding on a budget of $5,000 and failed miserably, you're going to need it. Weddings are expensive, but they're great. And you should push yourself a little bit within reason to make that wedding as cool as you can. Kristen and I, because of the help of my amazing parents, pushed ourselves way farther than we maybe should have, but we ended up with something that was mind-blowingly good. Hey, I've never really talked about that. If you go to YouTube and you search for Aaron Ciotti wedding, I think that... Oh, wow, not anymore. I guess I'm doing something right, because when you used to search for this, it would come up with a really good friend of mine, Michelle, of Octopunk Media, her edit from Kristen and my wedding. But now all my videos are pushing that down, which is a good thing. That means that typing Aaron Ciotti into wow, where the hell is it? Oh, you know what? It's my last name. It's my last name that's doing it. You got to just use my you'll see, but there it is. She didn't use my last name in the title. Yeah, this was our wedding present from Michelle, and that's what you can get with a budget of 10 grand for a wedding, which 10 grand is a shitload of money. Unbelievably, for a wedding, it's not a shitload of money. You can spend $100,000 on a wedding in like an afternoon. It is horrifying. And yeah, we were pretty horrified that the budget ended up going there. My parents were just like, no, you're good, you're doing that cheap, like you're good. But yeah, we wanted a beach house, and that's expensive. We wanted to do it at the beach. That's expensive. We wanted to have like 40-ish people. I think we wanted no more than 50. We kept it below 50. And yeah, it was a day that was amazing. And so yeah, go do it. Look at that big, tall, gangly goober. Oh wait, this is here. Look, this has copyright-free music on it. Brought us close to dream along together.
Just wait a minute, hold the phone. If we can just freeze this moment, then we'll never go home again. Let's take a ride, there's every road to roam. With the sea breeze to lead us, then we'll never go home again. Just take your time, and please take mine.
The girl who lived, and her new husband, the chosen one. I've always looked up to you and admired you, and I've been inspired by the way you saw the world with such wonderment. And I'm really happy that you have found your best friend and you've created a new life here.
He made in his life was a move towards a future with her.
Over the years, we've watched you grow, mature, and face many challenges together, some that really tested your love and commitment to each other.
We are truly blessed, Kristen and Aaron. You are kind, loving on this very momentous occasion.
To Aaron and Kristen, two of the most wonderful and beautiful people I know, who forged a beautiful marriage out of fire.
Robots, I used to know the code to make you overload and cry.
God, she did such a good job with that. Holy crap. Yeah, we did a lot with a little. We had hot dogs. We had a legit hot dog cart. We put all the lights and the tool. We spent like 20 hours stapling up to the bottom of that house. we bought all the like dishes and all the dishes we bought used, and then we sold them when we were done. Yeah, we did as much DIY stuff as we possibly could, and it still ended up costing a fucking fortune. But it was an awesome day. That was cool. Now that I've lost my whole audience, because I'm sure it just bored all you guys to tears, but I don't know, you guys seem like you're somewhat invested in me as a human being, so maybe you enjoyed that, which is cool. I don't take that lightly. It means a lot when you guys say to me, like, you know, you're a good human. Eric Allen says, you can't make people see the value, they have to see it. That's true, Eric. You gotta enable, I don't know how to put it into words, but you know what I'm trying to say. Dustin says, did someone ever figure out how to follow certain sellers, like on eBay's follow seller option? What do you mean, Dustin? Tristan Stoneman says, hey, hope you had a great holiday. Got my first two. Did you get your first 2.5-inch quads, or did you get two 5-inch quads? Two 5-inch quads. Wow, nice. Roma 5 and a T-Motor FT5. What do you think the best 4S LiPo, and will Crossfire use the same PNP wires that are for an RXSR? Depends on if it's an F4 or an F7. If it's an F7 flight controller, then yes, you can use the same wire. It depends on how they have the RXSR wired up too. Crossfire wants RX and TX on the same UART. So like, for example, RX1 and TX1, and then 5 volt and ground. So 5 volt and ground, you're fine. The question is, on those two rigs, how did the factory wire them up, basically? How did they wire the RXSR up? If it's an F7 flight controller, there's a chance. No, there's not. No, there's not. They have it on separate UARTs. Yeah, so you're going to have to move a wire. Even on an F7, they will have S-Bus on one UART and telemetry on another UART, and that's not going to work for Crossfire. So you're going to have to move one wire. Yeah, you're going to have to move. If it's an F4 flight controller, you're going to have to move the S-Bus wire, because it's going to be on an inverted S-Bus pad, and that's not what you want for Crossfire. If it's an F7, so that was only an issue on F4s. If it's an F7 flight controller, all right, so on the F4 situation, you're going to pull the wire off the S-Bus pad. You're going to look at what UART they have the telemetry on. Let's say that's UART 2, and you're going to put that S-Bus wire onto that same UART. So now you're taking up both the TX and the RX on that UART, and that's what the Crossfire wants. If it's an F7, you can do it either way. You can take you're going to take either one of those signal wires, either the telemetry or the S-Bus, and you're going to just move them onto the same UART. They have to be on the same UART. That's a good question. I had to really think about that. And then you said best 4S LiPo. When I was 4S, I ended up settling on the RDQ GNB 4S 1300s. Times have changed. Joshua Bardwell has some fantastic battery testing. Refer to that. I think that the RDQ GNB is still kind of the hotness in 4S 1300 land. The Tattoo R line is going to be a little bit lighter, but it's not as durable. The China Hobby lines tend to be a little bit heavier, but more durable. So it kind of depends. There's never a best. But there's usually a product that fits your needs better than the others. Scroll. Dustin says, every build I watched you do is a work of art. Thank you, Dustin. That's me having obsessive compulsive disorder. I don't actually have obsessive compulsive disorder, but it like full blown at least. But I have some of it. Mental illness is very seldom on or off. You like there are people that have OCD so bad that they have OCD, and then there's me that has kind of like OCD tendencies, but I wouldn't say that I have it. You know what I mean? Raw Picks FPV says, any tips for cold fingers in winter? Can't fly more than 3 packs in a row, which is pretty annoying. I fly from inside the car with the heat on in the passenger seat so that there's not a steering wheel in the way. Yeah, there's those big crazy glove over the, you know, you put your hands in it and it has a clear screen over the thing. There's a limit to how nerdy I will allow myself to look for some weird reason, and that goes over the line for me, and God forbid someone else sees me. I mean, it's I'm already fucking standing there going, right? Like, it's absolutely insane that I feel that way, but I'm absolutely insane. So I'm just going to go with it. Pedro Tome says, you give all to the people, I try. Yeah, I mean, that's the real solution is the handsy, glovey, baggy thing that goes over your transmitter and is all woolly. But I'll just fly from the passenger seat. Well, I mean, I also just don't fly as much in the wintertime, and if I do fly, it's a lot of times inside. Tiny whoop season. Scroll. Toxic RP says, Zanakis says he has a glide build with Hobby Wing 60 amp bot motors to give away to whomever you choose. I'm talking with him on Discord, and he wants to make sure you got the message. Yep, I'm so behind on chat. Holy cow. Expander, if props in view, which will be less visible, clear or dark smoke? Dark smoked, 100% of the time, Expander. The prop color that disappears the most is neutral gray, see-through, which is why so many of... I don't have any. So many of GemFan's propellers give you the option of neutral gray see-through. So yeah. Toxic FV says, he said, let's start the year off right. Damn straight. Double A says, I have a good question, maybe. Is Smart Port or Smart Audio controlled by PWM? I don't have a great understanding of PWM. I don't even know what it stands for. I don't even know what the acronym stands for. So I literally have no idea. Super Deluxe is here. What's up, brother? Marcel Robert says, let's CIOTTI'S, I'll stream with you. Yeah, there are exceptions to what we were talking about 45 minutes ago, which is bringing other people onto your streams. I think I hope that I rounded out that conversation. Super, I saw your comment on Joshua's video. I loved it. I guess my only other closing thought about having somebody on the stream, if I'm gonna have a guest, like, this might sound shitty again, but it's not meant to be shitty. The person has to sort of like give me a reason. There has to be like a thing. Like, hey, I'm having this person on to talk about this because they're really good at it, or because they have an interesting thought on it, or right? Like, I wouldn't just, because like, what else are we gonna talk about, right? Like I'm gonna have somebody on just go, so what'd you do today? Right? Like, yeah, I think that, I don't know. Like, I want to raise people up and help them out and get them subscribers and make their dreams come true. But I also want to provide good content that everybody is going to watch, and just having somebody on and saying like, so how did you get started flying? Oh, I got started flying like this. Oh, that's cool. I want more than that. I don't know. Maybe I'm a dick. Michael Fitzhenry liked the video with Joshua. Thank you, Michael. Scroll, scroll, scroll. Sketch FPV joined my Patreon. Thank you, Sketch PV. Very cool of you. Make yourself at home. Lots of good stuff. Scroll a lot on my Patreon page. There's lots of stuff down the bottom. I've been spending some time going through and trying to delete anything I possibly can to make it easier for you guys to get to the bottom, because Patreon does not make it easy to scroll, unfortunately. Only so much I can do. Ooh, you guys didn't tag me for a while. Awesome. That's really helping me get caught up. At 6:11 p.m. Oh my God. That was so long ago. Kemi Collins says, I appreciate you. We'll reach out soon. I'm already a Patreon. Super down to support you for the help. Thank you, man. Or woman. I don't see the world in color. What about something like a TP3 for the shark bite? Tiago, that was my next... When I was thinking through this the other night, that was my next thought. But then I immediately realized that you still can't... I don't think you can carry anything HD on a toothpick without props in view. And I went, yeah, damn. That's if you guys don't know, propellers in view is a deal breaker for me. On one hand, sometimes I'll just pick a deal breaker in order to like whittle down the number of options in life. But I genuinely don't like the look of it, and I do have this dream that I will be able to be a pilot that produces footage that gets used for like things, and they're like only FPV pilots are gonna accept footage with props in view. So yeah, it would be an interesting project though to maybe see what you would have to do on a TP3 to get the props out of view, I guess. But I don't know. I don't know if Mr. Huggy says professional pipe inspector. High-speed pipe inspector. Barshua Jodwell says Comcast is $79.99 before taxes and fees. Oh, man, they should be beaten with it. I mean, there's no way they'll be able to keep their prices so high for that much longer, which is a good thing. Scrolling back up because YouTube did the goddamn thing. There we go. CiottiFPV says, check your Facebook DMs. We're going to have a carnage picture. I can feel it. I want to know where that arm broke. I'm going to send it to, if you haven't already, I'm going to send your picture to the FPV Crate team. Just so that they have some feedback. Hey, look at that. Guys, remember where I said I thought it would be broken? Oh, man. Keystrokes are down. It's exactly where I thought. That's a little scary. Scary that I've broken enough carbon fiber frames and looked at where they break that I was able to... I don't know. I when you said I hadn't thought about... I guess I hadn't thought about where the arm would break. And when you said that, I just sort of looked at it, and my brain was just like, yeah, it's going to break right there. I don't know. I didn't, like, measure or anything. I just kind of looked at it. That makes me feel good that I am really starting to understand where the energy is going to go in these frames. That's kind of cool. TweetFPV says, sorry, Facebook. All right, gotcha. Thanks for that, Dan. Very cool of you. Actually, I'm going to send this to who I think the frame designer is, because I know he's going to want to see it. Just pictures of crash damage are really important. It really helps you figure out if an arm breaks in the same spot like this 10 times, you've learned a lot from that. Yeah. Dustin says, I want to, though. You deserve it. All the work you put in this. I appreciate that, Dustin. That's what yeah, that's perfect. That's what I want you guys to feel like. I want you to feel like it's worth it. Rick Cepeda says, sorry, I might have to finish putting Christmas stuff away until next year. Jesus, Rick, already? The body's not even cold yet. Scroll. Super Deluxe calls non-FPV people muggles. I like that. I call them normies. Anybody that's like not into what I'm into is I call them a normie. Carbon Cage is here. Australia is upside down. How's that going? Are you guys floating upwards? Propaganda X says, yo, Happy New Year. Happy New Year to you as well, and all of you lovely bastards. He also says, hey, what VTX are you using in your main glide builds? Immersion RC Tramp in everything 5-inch. It's a $30 VTX. It's very durable, and it just works. It's UFL. I run a direct UFL antenna. You know, like a little shorty guy. It saves me 10 grams by doing that versus a UFL to SMA and then an SMA antenna. It just works. The Immersion RC Tramp for $30 just works. And in Joshua Bardwell's now non-existent because TBS went crazy and he took it down. Testing, the Immersion RC Tramp outperformed the TBS Unify in the higher race, well, for you guys it's here, in the higher race band channels, like race band 5, 6, 7, and 8, and those are the race band channels that I use. The TBS Unify outperformed in the lower race band channels. And then Joshua had the testing, the gear that he was used to doing that testing, he had the gear tested, and the testing facility said that the testing gear was great and was really damn accurate. At which point I thought the video should have gone back up, but Trappy didn't think so. And Trappy's more important than me. Dauntless FPV says, how is this Patreon only? I went through it at the beginning, but quickly, it's not. This is public to everyone because I don't want to hide everything behind the paywall. If you happen to catch these streams, I'm going to try to do a stream a day for 2021. Some of the streams are going to be really impromptu like this, and these are going to be patron-only streams. They're not patron-only right now when I'm streaming them, but as soon as I hit end on the stream, this is going to automatically go to unlisted. And the link, but if you have a link to a thing on YouTube that's unlisted, you can still go to it. So I posted about this on Patreon and on Discord. So when I stop streaming, this becomes Patreon only. And I put it in the title so that you guys would ask, so that I could explain that to you. I'm trying to give you lovely patrons more and also incentivize people that aren't patrons to come over so that I can continue to do this full time in 2021. I'm not making quite enough yet, so I'm trying. It is, Sam B. That is a Simpson Diamondback with the shield, the same front shield that the Stig uses. Simpson sells like 6 different shield options for their helmets. They have clear, black, yellow, that crazy holographic cool one. So that's the white. How do I point to it? That's the white Stig's helmet, and this is the black Stig's helmet. That's Kristen's helmet. That's Kristen's helmet, and this is my helmet. I bought this one first, and then that came up really cheap, and I just had to snag it. But yeah, this is my main helmet. They're pretty much the same. They both of my race cars were. I don't have any race cars anymore, but I guess the Miata is still a race car. But the Mustang and the Miata are both black, so the whole black stick thing, that's sort of where that came from. But yeah, prior to FPV, I was 15-ish years into motorsports as a hobby, cars and motorsports and track days and autocross and all that nonsense. Back when I lived up north and made really good money. Not really good money, but good money. Say it ain't so. Nope, not caught up yet. Oh god, I'm close though. Propaganda X says, what about Albert Kim's toothpick mod? HD 3-inch no props in view, kind of finicky. I don't watch Albert Kim. Tell me more, Propaganda. You said very finicky, which I'm if you hadn't said kind of finicky, I would maybe go to his channel and look for it, but you said kind of finicky, and like that immediately makes me not interested, because if it's even remotely finicky, I'm going to destroy it because I crash so much. I am curious though. What is it? Somebody tell me. Somebody tell me what it is. You guys do the work for me. Ed K, Happy New Year to you as well. Chris Dents FPV says, is there a way to get access to the CLI dump you used on the glide from Joshua Bardwell's video? Just curious. What's not in the diff, Chris, that you're looking for in the CLI dump? I don't like diffs. I really don't like CLI dumps. There are just too many things in there that can get set incorrectly, and there's too many different versions of Betaflight. Like, yeah, 4.2, 4.2, 4.2.0, 4.2.1, 4.2.2, 4.2.3, 4.2.4. So yeah, if you just tell me what's missing from the diff, I'll tell you what to set it at, and that'll be a lot safer than me giving you an entire CLI dump. If you want the whole CLI dump, you need to tell me the exact version of Betaflight that you're on. That's the only way that I'll give it to you. Super Deluxe with a $5 super chat. He says, fund the Ciotti. Super Deluxe does a great job himself at funding the Ciotti. I thank you for that, sir. And I thank you for the super chats. If it ever stops raining, I will be able to put your Acrobat up in the air to make sure that it's good to go, and then I'll be able to send it back to you. I really don't want to send it back to you without having flown it. And I also kind of wanted to make a little bit of content with it. I thought that might be cool for you to see your Acrobat being flown by me and edited. So yeah. If you just want it back, let me know, and I'll just throw it in the mail tomorrow. Frederico is here, Gem fan in the house, and I'm caught up on the chat. It only took 2 hours and 23 minutes on a stream that I said, yeah, it was probably like half hour, quick stream. It's all right. It's like hanging out with you guys. Delivered by hand, dude. When there is a vaccine available to me, I would be on the plane the next day, my man. It's interesting. I with the laptop, I can go anywhere. I can do this job from anywhere, which is a real mind fuck for me. Like that I have to keep reminding myself. I forget that. So yeah, once travel is a little bit safer, Pretty cool. Pretty cool. Chris Dents FPV with a $5 super chat. He says, found what I was looking for in the comments in Joshua Bardwell's video. Thank you, sir. No, thank you, Chris. I'm going to leave this picture opened in a tab of the broken arm. If you haven't seen it, here's a link to Joshua Bardwell's video that he put up today called Finally a PID Tune I Can Appreciate. CIOTTI'S perfect freestyle build. There's a link. You're going to love my nuts. End that video. Let me refresh that video. I love talking to people in the comments, so I keep refreshing Joshua's video and then trolling for new comments to see what people are saying and then replying. It's probably not great for me to do that because that's when I see people ragging on me and that makes me lose my mind. But yes, Dauntless, it is. But I would like to I don't know. I tell myself that that it's worth it. It's worth being able to reply to the cool people, having to deal with the bad people, and I get to read stuff like this. In the video, Joshua said that the Phoenix Nano was whiting out on him. And now Silva FPV says, I had my Phoenix blacking out on me over the water. Pretty sketch situation. Rapid fire mode 2 seems to be holding up good, but the range sucks. I don't care so much about the rapid fire mode 2 thing, but this is somebody else who has a Phoenix that's blacking out on them. That's something I want to know. That's the latch to close the front of the CPU. The mount is made by BMC 3D and it's fantastic. There we go. TSKOR says, and I'm over here with an 830 gram freestyle build. Maybe it's time to try lighting things up. See, this is why I read. You know, these are great comments. I feel like I'm kind of getting the same thing with the cinematic preset. That's all I fly now. Nice. I've used the cinematic presets ever since 4.0 as a guide for how ever since what am I trying to say? I've used the cinematic presets ever since 4.0 for this is what I'm trying to say, for ideas on how to get the footage silky smooth. So I'm probably no. That's all I want to say. Yeah, I've never just copied and pasted the cinematic preset, but I've always looked at the cinematic preset and just look at it. Like, this is the cinematic preset. Like, what are they doing? Oh, look at that. The determ not determ transition. That's not what it's called. Now it's called, I don't know. Just look at the individual things and be like, oh, okay, they moved that up, they moved that down, they moved that to the side. You know what I mean? Chuckto says, did you used to be a hairdresser? Nope. Silas had the same whiteout issues with the Phoenix. Chuckster says, is there a hairdryer in your Manners glove box? No, it came with one. I took it out. Too heavy. Lightweight, bro. And I'm caught up on chat again. Very cool. Look at that. I like that comment. John Larson says, very interesting. Now I understand why some people like lower feed forward. Great explanation. Happy New Year, everyone. Thumbs up. John Larson knows what's up. All right. I think that is a really good first patron-only Rando live stream. What do you guys think? I'm also hungry, so I'm gonna go eat. Hold on. Manuel Varela didn't tag me, but I saw his comment. He said, easiest way to eliminate oscillations while flying straight in a 2.5-inch rig. Manuel, that's a really good question. Typically with micros, the problem is too many vibrations getting into the flight controller. And you can correct this. The right way to fix this, in my opinion, is to fix the mechanical system. And with micros, most micro motors are way too notchy. If you look in my edited videos on my channel, there's a video from a month or two ago called "Testing Motor Notchiness." Watch that video, and I get into much more depth. But basically, more than likely, if you tell me which motors you have, I might specifically know whether or not I consider that motor to be too notchy. If you watch that motor notchiness video, I'll show you in that video how to test. As long as you have like a semi-recent phone. If you've got like some sort of a phone from the last like 5 years, more than likely it has like 200 plus frame per second video recording capability, and that will allow you to test for yourself and compare 1-to-1 to the testing I did how notchy your motors are. So yeah, I'll bet you the problem is that you have motors on there that are too notchy. Motors that are too notchy put too many vibes into the gyro, and then one way to think about it is that the PID loop, which is error correction, it doesn't know what the hell's going on. It's in there getting fucking shaken around, and it's like, there's all this error. What do? I bounced back one direction. Now I'm bouncing back the other way because the motors are too damn vibratey. So, yeah, I think the best way, possibly, for you is to get a smoother running motor. The free way to fix it is to cripple your tune, basically. And to turn your P gains down and to turn your D gains down. And what you're doing in that scenario is you're reducing the PID loop, which is error correction. Think of it as error correction. You're reducing the error correction's ability to correct error. So all this vibration that's being caused by these potentially notchy motors is error. And by lowering your PIDs, you're taking away the software's ability to be more confused and add all this extra junk. So what it's going to do is it's not going to have as much power, so it's just going to cruise forward with less oscillation. The problem is, if you're not cruising forward, if you're doing anything other than cruising forward, you've crippled the tune's ability to correct error. So if wind hits it, or if you do a sharp movement, or any number of things that happens when we're flying these rigs, it's not going to perform well. So that's why I fix the mechanical system first, because I don't want to sacrifice. If I don't have to make sacrifices, I don't want to. And the less vibrations coming into your gyro, the less sacrifice you're going to have to make. Every time I explain these things, I get a little bit better at it, which is really good, because it really helps when I'm on Fiverr working with people one-on-one. CiottiFPV.com. Kenji FPV says, what are your thoughts on Flight 1 versus Beta Flight? Kenji, I spent 2 months in 2019 only flying KISS and Flight 1. Steel helped me get KISS tuned up. Wild Willie and Schizo helped me get Flight 1 tuned up. The experience that I had with Flight 1 was much worse than KISS. In the end, the reason why I stopped Flight 1 is after these like 2 months of trying to get it, it was doing uncommanded motions, and that's really dangerous. The last time that it did it to me, I was standing next to Kristen's car. I put it on the grass in front of me. I took it up, hover it, moved it around. It was doing this thing where it was doing these uncommanded movements, and I hovered it up in front of me, and it completely uncommanded turned 360 on yaw, put its nose down, and flew directly at... Initially, I thought it was flying right at me, but it was actually flying right at the windshield of Kristen's car, and I disarmed it, and it bounced off the windshield of the car. And I said, what if that was someone's face? I'm never flying Flight 1 ever again. And that was the end of Flight 1 for me. I then flashed Beta Flight onto the stack that was in there, and all was well. Like, it was totally fine with Beta Flight on it. Lots of people use Flight 1 and they really enjoy it. That one moment, though, was like, nope. Like, never gonna try it again. Like, maybe it was a 1 in a million thing, but I don't care. That could have really fucked somebody up. And that was really it for me with Flight 1. During the time that I was struggling to get Flight 1 to fly properly in that like 2 month period that I was working with Nick and Jonathan, it never did anything better than KISS or Beta Flight. There was a little bit of a different feel to it, but it wasn't a feel that... It was just different, right? It didn't handle prop wash as well as Beta Flight. It definitely didn't handle bounce back. Bounce back was really the biggest issue. On stuff like this flat yaw snap that I do a lot, it was a hot mess, as was KISS. In order to do this flat yaw movement that I do a lot, you have to have I-term relax. You have to have something that's going to dump off the accumulated I-term. So, yeah, I mean, the way that I fly, some of the moves that I do prevent me from running Flight 1 or KISS, because they have not built that functionality in. So, yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with Flight 1. Some of the other things that I didn't like about it were how closed source it is. The fact that we have Beta Flight is pretty phenomenal. Like, to have a fully free of charge open source piece of flight firmware that is like light years beyond the other options in terms of like feature set and performance and some other metrics is pretty unreal. I've had a lot of hobbies and none of them have even remotely had... The only thing I can think of that even comes close to that is Magic Lantern back in my photography days, which is an open source firmware for Canon cameras. It being closed source, you know, all the hardware has to come from Preston, and he doesn't do a really good job keeping stuff in stock, so that was super frustrating. The other thing that really bothered me was the lack of support, and it's, you can call it lack of support, or you can say that Beta Flight just has an unbelievable amount of support, right? And like my experience with Flight 1 was a lot of like, try this, try this, try this, try this. There was almost no, this is why this happens because of this, or oh, you're getting this, do this and it'll fix it. And like, even coming from Preston, there seems to be a lot in Flight 1 that the devs don't understand, which I can't wrap my head around that. It just I can't have that. I have to have a little bit more actual data. I can't just like try a million different things and hope that I eventually find one that's gonna work when it comes to the tuning. So yeah, Flight 1's not for me, and that's fine. There's lots of people that love Flight 1, and that is fucking great, and that is so cool for those people, and they should keep flying it. But it's not for me. It didn't do a single thing better than Betaflight or KISS, and it did a lot of things a lot worse. And I don't know, I see a lot of... I'm going to stop there. Because if you fly Flight 1, that's great, and I love that you're enjoying your experience on Flight 1. If you fly Flight 1 and you haven't flown Betaflight 4.2 with some of the really easy tricks that I talk a lot about, I think you should. I think you should give Betaflight 4.2 a shot, because it's pretty incredible. It's kind of game changing. Being able to fly around on 2 out of 3 propellers and not have the motors get hot, that's fucking crazy. And it makes getting your quad back from unrecoverable spots. Oh, you know what one of the other total deal breakers for me was with Flight 1? Turtle mode. Doesn't work right. I used to fly with Schizo a lot, and seeing him walk to pick up his rig because it flipped upside down over and over again, I was like, wait, what? No. And I was never able to get it to work right either. It was just, it would work sometimes, but it was just not, there was no, like, reliability. And I fly sketchy shit where I could very well get stuck up on a roof, like 10 stories up. And if turtle mode is not going to work 100% of the time, nope. Nope. Not losing that rig. I can't afford to lose that rig. Some people can. I can't. I can't afford to lose rigs or footage. So, great question, Kenji. Dazbug says, I'm going on your Patreon, mate. I guess I owe you because you guys don't owe me anything because you got me in the air as I'm new to this hobby. I appreciate it, Dazbug. You guys don't owe me anything. You pay me by hanging out with me. Dan Richmond said, Dan Richmond says, what's your recommended Ripsqueak motors? The current Ripsqueak arms are 9x9 motor mount, and the best motor is going to be the RCX 1306, which you can buy from MyRCMart. There are 12x12 motor mount arms in prototype. There's a set on their way to me. There might be a set on the way to all of you guys. Bill from BQE told me yesterday that he threw in something extra for all the people that ordered Ripsqueaks recently. So you guys might also have those arms coming. I don't know for a fact. Once those arms are a real thing for the Ripsqueak, the Brother Hobby 1504 and a half motors are my favorite. The 1306s are great, but the 1504 and a halves are even better. So you'll love either one of those options. Dazbug says, but don't be too happy. I've got a million questions. No, that's what I want, man. Ryzex RCFPV says, your thoughts on GemFan Moonlight props. I don't know how they're so cheap. I don't know. I can't wait. I absolutely cannot wait for those GemFan LED props. I think they're going to be so fun. I cannot wait to get follow footage of myself all up on top of a drift car with a purple LED on the back of my quad and 4 big, beautiful red LED props hammering away. Fucking red and purple CiottiFPV rig all on top of a drift car, pouring smoke off the rear tires. Yes. If you don't buy the GemFan Moonlight props, check your pulse. Because, come on now. Come on. LED lit up props? How can that not be the coolest shit in the world to you? I guess it's like the ultimate cock tease for us because we're gonna be in the goggles when we're flying them, so like we're not gonna get to see them. It's almost like we should buy them for the people that we fly with, right? So that we can see how cool the damn things are. But I mean, LED props, come on. Gotta have it. Gotta fucking have it. GemFan saves 2020 for sure on that one. Chuck Toe said, how did you know which Betaflight version to use on the Flight 1 board? Oh, God. It's been too long. I don't remember. But I'll bet you if you type that question into Google or YouTube, somebody will tell you. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. But sometimes I just go into the list of targets and like just read through them, and you can. I've had situations where like I didn't look it up, and I'm like, let me just see if I can find it, and I go in and like the name of the flight controller is in there, and I just click that one and put it on there, and it works. So there's a chance I did that. There's a chance I literally just went to the list of targets and looked in the F's. You know, they're in alphabetical order. Dauntless FPV says, today is a milk duds feast type of day. And then Dustin Gable with the last comment that I'm going to read before shutting this shit down. Who wants Ciotti to play the Stew Sausage FPV video? We all need a good laugh. I don't even know what that is. What is that? Stew Sausage video? I'll end the stream with it. What do I search to find it? All right, fellers. Drone pilot, I am good. You got here just in time for me to shut this thing down. I'm waiting for somebody to tell me how to find this Stew Sausage FPV video. This is going to be a long line of unprofessional, Patreon-only, extra content streams. I hope you guys like them. Looks like YouTube is letting non-moderators post links, which I dig. I don't have enough of a following to really deal with a lot of spammers. So yeah, it's kind of cool. What's... Oh no. They're going to sausage him while he's flying. Oh no. Hopefully they'll just hold it in front of his nose instead of poking him in the face with it. When I'm in the goggles, the last thing I want is anything to touch me. That's what she said.
Cheerio? Yeah. Gonna give me Cheerios? Nah. He gets nothing. He gets some sausage.
And we know it's in Australia because a fly landed on the cameraman's arm immediately.
I trust you. What is happening?
Can, can Stu smell it, maybe?
Yeah, Gunnar's right there, mate. I can see you in the FPV.
Oh. He brought the quad back to look at him.
Oh, this is why. Oh, I see now. No, I reckon, Stu, it's all coming together. Here's what they say. Stu, you should fly and talk at the same time. That might make your job a bit easier. You used to always do that. No, you should try it a bit different. I see. Let's wait till Stuart's in the goggles and he can't see what's happening. And then you guys are filming.
And then you guys will wave a fucking sausage in front of my face. That's awesome. Stu is such a cool guy. Alright, people. Thanks for hanging out. I'll see you guys tomorrow. because yeah, I'm gonna try to do these every day. It might be a 10-minute stream, but I'm gonna try to do something every day. CiottiFPV.com has a million ways to support me and maybe even save yourself some bucks. I guess not. There's no real. You're not gonna save yourself any money, but there's some cool stuff on there. Be good. Love you guys. Happy 2021. We made it. To any that didn't make it, where am I going with that? That's a weird thing to say. Goodbye. Here's some more pipes. Computer. Please. Please. Yes. There it goes. More pipes. Goodbye. Hey, there's that move, by the way, that I always talk about. Here, hold on. In case you guys can't like visualize it. Here's the move that Kiss and Flight 1 can't do without bounce back. It's that was kind of an ugly version of it. Here's a little bit crisper of a version. So there's no bounce back at all. You have to have I-term relax to have no bounce back in that rotation there. Isn't that cool? Alright guys, be good. This is boring. Goodbye.